Hey guys, so good morning, good afternoon, and of course, in some parts of the world, good evening. It's Ash. I thought I'd come on and do a video since it's been a couple of days. I haven't done a video. That's really the only way that I can feel alive is when I come on and do my videos, which is true because it's something that I enjoy doing. I used to do it all the time, and I kind of took a little hiatus, but it is something that gives me a lot of motivation. It's to do my videos where I'm trying to be motivational. The video that I want to talk about is rejection. Ugh, that's a bad word, right? Nobody likes to hear that word, rejection. Nobody likes to be rejected. But if you think about it in a positive way and you realize that when you are being rejected, that's God's way of redirecting and protecting you, right? Rejection is protection and redirection. Because what God is doing is He's saying that's not for you. No, nada, it's not, right? And at the time, when you're going through it, it might not feel like the best. It feels horrible. It makes you feel small and less than and unworthy, right? Nobody likes to be rejected from anything in life. But it's really God's way of saying, I've got something even better. Because our plan for our lives, remember, it was like that little roller coaster. The little roller coaster, like God's plan. Our plan is like straight, and God is like, no, it's like dips and flips and turns and all over the place. Because what God has for us is always, always even better, right? And we have to get into that mindset of realizing that when we're rejected from something, it's not for us, right? There goes an orb. I got my angels flying around. They're like, hey. It just means that it's like, okay, that's not for you, right? And it's okay. And we have to come to that conclusion that it's God's way of saying, look, I've got something even better. I saw a post just a minute ago, actually, on my page, and it's this big, beautiful tree, and it's pink flowers. I don't really know what kind of flowers, cherry blossoms or something, but they're beautiful. It's just a big tree, right? And it says God, right? God's this big tree. And then we're over there like this with like this little flower. And that's kind of like God's plan, right? God's like, look, I've got a bigger plan for you. It's more massive, it's more beautiful and more wonderful. But here's the thing. You've got to trust me. You have to have trust. You must trust, right? Trust the process. Trust me. I've been there and I'm in the middle of it and I'm like, God, I'm isolated. I'm totally alone. I'm getting sad. I'm getting very depressed. But your plans for me are starting to manifest in this three-dimensional world, right? I'm like, okay, everything that we've been doing is in the spiritual realm, right? The higher dimensions. And I see it and I know it and God shows me. And I'm like, God, people are going to start to think that I'm crazy because I know a lot of stuff, but it hasn't manifested yet. And God's like, do you trust the process? Yeah. Do you trust that every rejection, every person that told you no, every person that slammed the door on you, every person that lied on you, every person that broke your heart, every person that caused turmoil in your life, do you realize that that was my master plan? Yeah. Okay. Well, it's going to eventually start to manifest, right? And that is where we sometimes drop the ball because we give up and we don't continue to have that trust, right? When we start to think that those failures and the rejections and the closed doors, we start to think that that is going to be the be all, right? The end all. God's like, no, that's not the end. I'm redirecting you, but you must trust the process that you're going through, right? You're going to go through a much different process. And I want you to trust that all of those closed doors are the answers to your prayers. Haven't you ever prayed for something and you prayed and you prayed and you prayed and you were like, God, I really want this to happen. God, come on now. And it doesn't happen. And you go back and you reflect on it and you're like, okay, well, that was a little piece of dust that just flew by. I know when the orbs are My lights are going dim. I know when the orbs are flying, when my angels are flying around, and when this dust, that was a piece of dust. But anyway, but haven't you ever gone back and you reflected and you're like, wait, you know what? Something better did happen. God's like, that's what it is. Did you trust in the process when you were going through it? Well, no, I didn't at first, but then eventually I just let it go. I let go and I let God, and I let you do your thing, right? So when we learn to realize that if someone slams a door in your face, if someone breaks your heart, if someone tears you down, and they're just not meant for you, right? You just have to realize that rejection, right? That failed relationship, that rejection is a redirection to something much better, right? Because God has a much better plan for each and every one of us. He always, always does, but it's part of A, trusting the process, right? B, having faith. And knowing that without a shadow of a doubt, what you are praying for, right, is going to manifest, right? And you need to know that God's working in the background for you on something bigger and better. Because when we give up, right, we throw in the towel, we're like, okay, fine, God, I got rejected, I got doors slammed in my face, I got lied on, I got cheated on, what next? But if you throw in that towel, you're not going to go forward to where you need to go. And it's a long process, and it's very difficult. It is. When you're chosen one, it's very hard, especially when you have this big grandiose purpose and you have no one to talk to. You feel completely isolated, completely alone, and you can't tell people about it because A, the people that you're around think that you're crazy, right? They were like, well, she's crazy. Who are you going to talk to? God, right? And it's lonely. It's a very lonely process until everything starts to manifest into this physical realm, because everything that God does is in a spiritual realm, right? And I've been working on a lot of things with God in the spiritual realm for a while now, and it is starting to manifest, and I'm starting to see it, that I can't tell anybody about it, and that's really difficult and it's really hard. But God's like, do you trust the process? Do you know that with a shadow of a doubt you're not going to be stuck in this isolation period for much longer? I'm like, I trust. It looks real gloomy. It looks really gloomy. I'm sitting there looking around and I'm like, God, okay, nah. And God's like, yes, you must trust, because I have things that are in the works and they're going to come to you. And I'm like, well, God, I've lost everything. I have nothing. I have a suitcase with a few things of clothes in it. That's all I've got left. I don't even have phone service, right? So I'm like, God, they're going to have to come knock on my door physically and come bless me, because I don't have a phone anymore, right? I've really lost everything. I mean, I'm staying in the family home where I grew up, but I have nothing left. And God's like, you got to trust me. And I'm like, I do. I trust you, God. I have no money. I have no car. I've got just a suitcase and a couple things of clothes. But I trust you. And I don't think a lot of people understand the extent of what was done to me. It was bad. I literally was left with nothing. I literally was left for dead, right? And so God's like, you got to trust me that I'm going to turn things around in your favor. And I'm like, yeah, but it really looks really gloomy. And I don't think people really understand the extent of just how bad it is right now. But it's faith, right? And this is my testimony. God's like, this is your testimony. You're going to utilize everything that you've gone through and show people without a shadow of a doubt that I'm real, based on the fact that you have nothing left in your life, but you still keep going every day and you keep getting up and you trust me, that you know that something good and wonderful is going to manifest for you in your life, because it's bad. By sight, it's real bad. Here, I know that God's going to come through for me without a shadow of a doubt. But the scary thing is I don't have anybody to talk to about it, and that's hard. It's real tough. It's tough. So anyway, I'm just here to say, cheer up. If you've been rejected in any way, shape, or form with anything in your life, just know that it's God's protection and it's His redirection for you in your life. So trust God. He's got this.